Hello everyone and welcome back to PGP Motorsports Park for the third race of the spring season. This one's a little bit more of a misty day today. It's raining a little bit, although not really too much. It's just kind of misting it down, but our drivers are going to line up here for their pack of 24 and keeping an eye on the flag. The flag's waved and they're away. Right now they're all 24 going to be racing down this rolling start here. They're going to be trying to make it 2 to 3 wide as they're going to go barreling into this roller coaster chicane right here, and we're going to see if they're all going to make it through. So far it looks like they're all pointing the right direction, but I could be speaking too soon. Through the double apex they go. It might be wet enough to where there's going to be a huge advantage for going on the outside line through there, and we're going to be seeing some courageous dives and 2 wide moments through the light bulb and into the top of the world they go. Hopefully no one is pushed out wide onto the track to end their race prematurely. We have all 24 super close together for the opening stages of this race, and it looks like everyone's keeping it on pretty well. Right now it's just me up here commentating and working with the phone video today to simplify the setup. But as we go back into this action, we see some 2x2 going into turns 5 and 4 for this final. Sergey making a dive up into the inside, holding onto his position. Lots of 3 wide moments as they go through the chicane right here. Very impressive work keeping it mostly under control, though I see 2 people really slow on that inside line, as they might have lost all their momentum in some hasty dives through there. We won't, since this is the phone setup, we won't have the tracker here, but I think I see Spencer is leading the way, followed by a dude in black with a white helmet and a dude in white in a white helmet. Not really sure who it is, but behind him is Thomas Heacock, who is also known as Herbert, I think it was that I was told to call him in the Discord chat around here. But he's looking to make it 2 wide, diving up on the inside, maybe looking for a double overtake, but he has to pull out of it, and in the end he does not gain any positions, and now he's working on the defense as he tries to make his way inside to try to prevent losing positions after that courageous move of the double overtake into roller coaster in these slightly moist conditions. So it looks like the fighting is still going on as I see some 3 wide action, and I'm starting to see some bigger raindrops coming down. Just going to make it even more slick on that track, and slick tires is what they are on, so they do not have the treads to part the waters and give themselves even a little bit of hope of grip. It's just ice once they start hydroplaning on the flat rubber of the slick tires. But Thomas did make his way through, and he's now up into a podium position. And it looks like he might not hold on to it as long as someone's looking to dive up on the inside, but he backs out and takes that outside line to try to take full advantage of it. And it looks like people are doing the inside line for turn 2. They're just really hugging that inside line and having to take it a lot slower because of how wet it is. But for turn 3, for turn 2, they're taking a slightly wet line, although holding it closer to the inside than all the way to the outside because they just lose too much time. They're literally looking to get to the edge of the racing line, but not on it. But here we see this gaggle of cars going by the front straight as the roar of the engines go by, and it looks like we're seeing 3, possibly 4 wide action as we see them all barely merge together just before the turn. That is some impressive traffic navigation right there. There may be a little bit of bumping there, so you can't hope for the same amount of that merging and zipper merge potential out on the highway because of the contact here, but very well done indeed to be able to maintain race pace and merge all together like that when there are 4 lines in there. So around the top of the world they go into bus stop. 7 and 6 is our leader, Spencer, who's got quite the demanding lead here. And it looks like Thomas did lose some pace, and he'll be on the outside, but with that momentum he'll be able to roar ahead and put some distance, especially since they're fighting behind 2x2x2 into the sequence of turns 5 and 4. That wonderful chicane there. And Thomas has a gap on the people behind. Although he's only in 4th, he's not quite on that podium position. He did lose out at some point through there, and that battle is still going on in the pack here. The pack is absolutely crazy right now. Lots of differences of speed, and they're just all going through like 3 wide here going into turn 1. That's not going to last long as someone tries to hit the brakes hard to get their cart turned around, and that fight is still intense. As we see Sergey leading it, he's not in the train there, he's in front of the fleet as they're in fighter formation behind him, but then they train it all up as they go into roller coaster because they know that if they go 2 or 3 wide, they're going to end up in a barrier or in the grass, and that's just going to be the end of the race. Better to just give up 1 position than 10 when you're in the pack like this. But it looks like someone is closing in on Spencer here, looking to bring the fight to him. He is no longer alone. He's going to have to start thinking how to drive defensively here in this semi-moist, semi-dry conditions, as I'm seeing some inside lines being thrown in here as well as some wet lines. It's a little bit of mix of in between, and Spencer is on the back foot here as he's the person who's discovering where the dry lines are. And if the rain picks up, or if the mist picks up, or any of the humidity picks up, he's going to be the first to discover when a racing line is no longer dry. And so he has to take in a bit more cautious so that way he doesn't just throw it all away by racing flat out. But yeah, it looks like they are taking the dry lines here, is what was discovered, as the track is now dried up, and I am feeling a little bit less of the mists here. But this pack is closed up, and Thomas in 4th, followed behind. And wow, while I was looking away, a move was thinking of being made, but as I better see it, the person who's chasing down Spencer was on the outside line, not really looking to make an overtake, just shedding his momentum by moving outside. But 2 wide they go now through Light Bulb, and that battle has exploded near the top as they enter top of the world. And that line has now reformed itself, although a devious move being thrown up on the inside of Thomas Heacock, it looks like. And he just loses out. He was unprepared for that and loses 2 positions there and falls to the back of this pack. And Spencer still in the lead when all the dust settles. And Sergey has quite the train behind him, with the Rainmeister himself somewhere in the middle of that, hoping for more rain to follow so he can take advantage of his better grip and churn his way through the pack. But the weather's unpredictable out here, especially on a cloudy day like this. It just threatens to come down, but never quite does. So they've completed another circuit of this lap, and Spencer still with the commanding lead. We have the Stig in 2nd place with the red gloves. I might recognize those gloves, but I can't quite. Oh, with a daring move on the outside goes the Stig into roller coaster, into 1st place. He takes the lead of the race in roller coaster around the outside. Brilliant racecraft there. Spencer could do nothing against that, except for maybe be braver on the brakes in these sketchy conditions, which could have ended both of their races. Very daring indeed to get that overtake on Spencer. I think Thomas might have moved up at some... Nope, Thomas is still in the back of this pack here. 6th place. Of this very, very entertaining train that we have going on, with Sergey actually pulling a gap with the train behind him as some fights break out. The Rainmeister looking to take advantage of a dicey 2x2 situation. He's going to move up to the inside to make it almost a 3-wide situation, except for the one person who had the better momentum. So now it's just 2 wide with Rainmeister on the inside. Will he get the better line to be able to claim that position in the middle of that pack? And he will now be stuck on the outside. It doesn't look like he has the momentum, and he does not gain that position. He still remains in the same spot in that pack. Now, back to 1st place, who I don't know the name of, but he's got a white suit, red gloves, and I've called him the Stig before, with Spencer behind, and another person with black suit, white helmet, looking to make the same move, but Spencer's wise to it and doesn't allow it to happen. Some more 2 wide further back. Something to note for the LCQ. It had a very small turnout. It was only 6 drivers, so it was more of... It wasn't as much of getting into the top 4 as much and more of not being the bottom 2 in order to qualify for here. So we have most of the people here, except for 2, out on the grid with the 24 racers. So that's the fun fact there. And it looks like the person who was able to overtake Spencer is now gapping and has faster pace and is pulling away with the lead of the race. Seeing the recording timing, we're 10 minutes, so we're about halfway through this race. A lot of developments. The pack has spread not as thinly as it can in the LCQ, but it is a bit thinner. And we see Thomas making a move, a defensive move. No, I might have lost track of things. So we have Spencer in second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. Oh, Sergey was able to get past Thomas, and Thomas is now in the lead of his own train. And he has to be defensive here in order to not fall further back into the pack. And we have Manny here looking to take a defensive outside line so that way no one can sneak in. And he's going to cut onto the inside line and get the optimal line through roller coaster in these slightly wet conditions. Around top of the world goes pretty much the whole field. Now we have this. Now the main pack is going through bus stop and then exiting through turn 7 and 6. We're in the reverse direction today. And Sergey looking to carve his way through the field, taking a very, very dry line through there, and it looks like he has a lot of time gained. So he was able to learn the most while doing the pack racing and looking at what the leaders were doing. And he's taking all that knowledge and he's gonna fight for the front. Oh, it looks like they now resume taking a slightly wider line through turn 2. So the track conditions are constantly changing, it looks like, as Spencer has getting a move thrown on him around the outside. Spencer isn't there to do anything about it, and they might just have him on the straight, and he does. Past him before the turn even starts for a roller coaster. Spencer now falls back to third. Now we have our anonymous drivers with the white suit, black suit, and matching white helmets. We have quite the battle going on back here with Manny trying to go around the outside of Lightbulb, but it looks like unless he can get some... No, he was able to get a good move there. I think he was able to gain net 1 position through there as he takes it wide into bus stop. And here are our leaders. Our top 3. Spencer doing everything he can not to lose out on the podium position that he has. After getting away from the first pack in the... after getting away from the pack in the first half of the race, that lead just eventually left and he just got passed on pace as everything settled down. And so now Spencer at this point is probably adjusted and is playing a defensive game to minimize the losses that he's taken. But someone dives up around the inside of turn 1 and that'll be another position lost for Spencer unless he's able to get better momentum out this turn. He's getting bump drafted down the straight, so this will allow him to maintain his lead unless, of course, there's a double over. Nope, 2 people do not get that chance to overtake him. He maintains the spot in 3rd place, just barely thanks to the help of the driver behind. But first place with the commanding lead, just outpacing. And unless the track changes and causes him to have to do some more learning mistakes, I think he might be able to maintain this lead for the rest of the race. We're about 14 minutes into the final, with about 6 minutes to go, because the final is a 20-minute race. And then on that 20th minute, or thereabouts, that's when they throw our white flag and then the checkered flag. So we're seeing lots of drafting going on down the back straight here. But, well, no, it looks like there might have been a move made through there, or a defensive move by Thomas, as he still maintains the spot behind Sergey, but now down in 7th. But the move will be thrown again against Thomas Heacock, as he has to take that inside line, but it's not enough. He drops down another position, down to 8th. And it looks like the place to be going into roller coaster in these conditions is on that outside line. that is the overtaking line, because the person on the inside has to be so much more cautious on the brakes. Now, of course, that's a scary proposition to overtake on the outside of roller coaster, because if the person makes a mistake or is not as cautious on the brakes, then it's you that's out in the grass and not getting a good finishing spot, to say the least. But yes, Spencer was passed once again, and now we have a full suite of 3 people that I am not able to identify in the top 3. Only Spencer is my marker for names, and then Sergey behind the person who's behind Spencer. Maybe it's Davidson up in first? He probably has red gloves. Or it could be David Boschavuli. I don't know. It looks like a completely new outfit with the hoodie. It could be Aiden Flynn. Could be anyone who's leading this pack right now. But we have a 2-way battle with Scott Miller, the Rainmeister, who's taking that inside line, and the person on the outside does not want to do the bravery check of trying to overtake her on the outside of roller coaster there, so the Rainmeister holds his position. Now, for gaps, I can do the tried and true technique of identifying a spot on the track and then counting to figure out the gap. So if we look at the gap between first and second, it looks like it is 1, 2, about 1.5 seconds, I think, between first and second place. And we'll see if that gap grows or shrinks at around that same spot on the next lap, to see if he's either maintaining it, growing it, or shrinking it. It's easy to be deceived by the pendulum effect in some braking zones. Although there's not too many braking zones around this track, and actually, we are on our final lap of the race as the white flag is shown. So there is going to be a move for second place here, but the defensive line is enough to thwart him and cause him to cause third place to go back to where his go back to a spot. And that battle's still going to be ongoing, but that's going to draw in fourth place even closer, and that's going to put him at risk of Spencer being able to get back onto that podium if they keep battling like this, as we see 2 wide going into top of the world. Spencer seeing this and thinking, okay, it's the final lap, this is my chance to potentially get a spot back. But that gap is still there, with the person in first place maintaining that, and we're going to see if that gap has grown in the course of a lap as they go around this corner of 1, 2. No, that gap is still about the same. Maybe slightly greater, but I'd say it's probably around 1.5, 1.6, if I had to guess. But now it's just a massive train behind second place. And Spencer not able to make it through. The positions still remain the same. Sergey's in there as well, going to take maybe one last overtake attempt, and it's going to be so close across the finish line for second and third. And we will have the names of our winners soon at the podium ceremony. My co-commentator will be back for the 4th race of the 2025 spring season, and we'll be there for the podium ceremony, and we'll have our regular setup back. So remember to like, comment, and subscribe for that, and we'll see you, well, at the podium ceremony, as I've said 4 times.